Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskrityam
Narayanam Namaskritam.
Naran Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaivo Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayamudirayet
Tato Jayamudire.
Nashtaprayasu Abhadresu
Nashtaprayeshu Avadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttama Sloke
Bhagavati Uttamastoki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki.
Reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, title Conclusion, the Perfection of Renunciation. And today's verse is verse number 25. Anubandham Shayam Himsam Anapekshaya cha Paurusam Mohad Arabhayate Karma
Mahat
Yat Tat
Arabhayate Karma.
Tamasam Uchyate
Yatta Tamasam Uchyate.
Anubandham Shayam Himsam
Anubandham Kyayam Himsam.
Anapekshaya cha Paurusam
Anapekyascha Purusham.
Mohad Arabhayate Karma
Mahat Arabhayate Karma.
Yat Tat Tamasam Uchyate
Yatta Tamasam Uchyate.
Anubandham Shayam Himsam
Anubandham Kyayam Himsam.
Anapekshaya cha Paurusam
Anapekyascha Purusham.
Mohad Arabhyate Karma
Mohat Arabhayate Karma.
Yat Tat Tamasam Uchyate.
Yatta Tamasam Uchyate.
Anyone would like to lead?
Anubandham Kyayam Himsam.
Anubandham Shayam Himsam
Anapekyascha Purusham.
Anapeksha cha Paurusam
Mahadarabhyate Karma.
Mohad Arabhyate Karma
Yatta Tamasam Uchyate.
Yat Tat Tamasam Uchyate. Word by word meaning. Anubandham,
Anubandham
of future bondage.
of future bondage.
Shayam,
Kayam
destruction.
destruction.
Himsam,
Himsam
and distress to others.
and others.
Anapeksha,
Anapekya
without considering the consequences.
without considering the consequences.
Cha, also.
Cha also.
Paurusham,
Purusham
self-sanctioned.
self-sanction.
Mohat,
Mohat
by illusion.
by illusion.
Arabhyate,
Arabhyate
is begun.
is begun.
Karma, work.
Karma work.
Yat, which.
Yet which
Tat, that.
that
Tamasam,
tamasam
in the mode of ignorance.
in the mode of ignorance.
Uchyate,
Uchyate
is said to be.
is said to be.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. That action
That action
performed in illusion,
perform in illusion
in regard of scriptural injunctions,
in disregard of scriptural injunctions.
in disregard of spiritual injunctions,
In disregard of scriptural injunctions.
and without concern for further bondage
And without concern for future bondage
or for violence
or for the violence
or distress caused to others,
or distress caused to others,
is said to be in the mode of ignorance.
is said to be in the mode of ignorance.
Prabhuji or Mataji would like to read this?
One has to give account of one's action to the stage or to the agents of the Supreme Lord called the Yamadutas. Irresponsible work is destructive because it destroys the regulatory principles of scriptural injunctions. It is often based on violence and is distressing to other living entities. Such irresponsible work is carried out in the light of one's personal experience. This is called illusion, and all such illusory work is a product of the mode of ignorance.
Thank you so much. Let's all chant together. Om Timirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasme Sri Gurave Namo Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhavitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Panchakalpataru Vyascha Kripa Sindhu Vaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Lachal Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannathaya Namo. Thank you so much for joining this wonderful Sangha. On this Saturday, we're discussing how the modes of material nature is causing us to act in certain way. So this verse, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is explaining such beautiful concepts about anubandham. Anubandham means any action which causes bondage. So prior to verses, we spoke and discussed about Krishna's text, wherein in 23, the Supreme Personality of Godhead talked about action in mode of goodness. In 24, he spoke about action in mode of passion. That one person is so passionate, like people say, whenever they go and get trained in the engineering college or for IIT exam, they are basically said, I'm passionate to get it. How passion really drives them to get there. But here, the Lord is talking about the action which is done with a mode of ignorance, mode of illusory energy of the Lord. Ignorance is also an energy of the Lord, wherein the person tries to be lethargic. And what kind of action is that? Action that is anubandham, that is which causes future bondage, like smoking, for example. Smoking is an action. Smoking cigarettes is an action in the mode of ignorance, which is a classic example, because it causes future bondage and it leads to shayam. You just celebrated Akshaya Tritiya. Akshaya means anything which doesn't can be shaya, can be destroyed. Shaya is destruction. This is the opposite of Akshaya. So Krishna is saying of future bondage with destruction in mind, himsam, any action which causes distress to others, you know, eating non-vegetarian food, which causes hingsa on others. Krishna is using the word hingsam. Hingsa means which causes sadness to others, which causes any activity you end up doing, which creates a lot of sadness to others. Hingsam. Anapeksha. Anapeksha means, see, this can be also broken down into apeksha and anapeksha. Apeksha means which has consequences. Apeksha means it has some consequences. It has some, and here the person is doing the action without really thinking that how he or she is badly influencing something else without considering the consequences. So some key points: the work which creates further future bondage. Think about the work which is causing future bondage. Think about the work which is leading to destruction of whatever kind. The kind of work which has some violence built into it, hingsa and anapeksha, without considering the sequence. And it's not mentioned by scriptural injunction. It is self-sanctioned. Paurusham is self-sanctioned. Paurusham here, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is speaking at a material level in terms of, the showcasing of your Paurusham, wherein you are basically approving that action. It is not sanctioned by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is not sanctioned in the scriptures, but it is self-sanctioned, Paurusham, and it is full of moha. Moha means it has a lot of formal and personal attraction built into it, wherein there is that illusion, arabhyate, wherein it basically starts with that and you really continue again and again. And that work, which is done with future bondage, destruction, distress to others without expecting the consequences, and that is in the mode of ignorance. And here, as you can see, the three modes of material nature is making you dance. There are three modes which are controlled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this picture. And through that thread, they're basically making the living entity, which is in the bottom, be unsteady, be running around, becoming dancing to the tunes of the three modes. So we are going to discuss this beautiful subject matter because any activity which doesn't have a sanctioned authority where who is actually approving the action based on scriptures or based on guru or based on sadhu or based on shastra, that is self-sanctioned. So Krishna is using the word paurusham. That means the person just decides to do it. He just decides to eat something. He decides to eat, sleep anywhere. He wants to wake up anytime. That kind of mentality is the work done in the mode of ignorance. Anubandham shaya himsa. Any activity which does bandh ke rakhna, anubandham. Any activity which makes you attracted to that action, like smoking, for example, or drinking. It takes years and years and years, takes medication, takes those lozenges in the mouth. You keep on doing so that the smoking will go away, but it causes so much of bondage. Person becomes slave to smoking. But mode of ignorance is especially caused by bondage, just like addiction in any form. And shyamam, shayam, himsam means it leads to destruction. Akshaya, no destruction. Shyamam is destruction. And himsam, and it is done with some terrorism activity or vandalism or killing somebody. That is mode of ignorance. So that's why they say whenever there are terrorists who are killing people, they're doing with mode of ignorance. They're brainwashed, they're radicalized, and that's why they end up killing others and others. And that is the mode of ignorance. Anapeksha chaborusham. That means the person doesn't have any uh, apeksha, in the sense, not in a selfless manner, but but in terms of consideration. The person is deciding what to do without taking the approval from Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. And and there is this element of harshness, and it is self-sanctioned, and and that it has mohat. That means it has got an attraction for greediness attached to the action you're doing. So anytime you end up doing any activity, think about these attributes. Is it sanctioned by somebody? Is it sanctioned by Guru, Sadhu, Shastra? Did any rationalized person said to you to do this? First think about that. Paurusham. It should not be self-sanctioned, but Paurusham means self-sanctioned. Anything which is self-sanctioned is in the mode of. Then Krishna talks about anubandham, any action which is keeping you attracted, bandham, bandh ke rakhna, anything which is getting you attracted, not for the right reason, but that attraction is based on Shaimam. That means anything which is leading to destruction, and Himsam, anything which is leading to violence. So these are some of the qualities we should stay away from, because this will lead us into the mode of darkness, in the mode of ignorance, where we are not able to distinguish between good and bad. And that is when the actions are done, the person is bewildered. And there are so many great examples. When Dhritarashtra did not want to give 5 villages to Pandavas, it's not as if he didn't know the consequences of that. He knew that this will lead to war and there will be killings. So, so, so it was self-sanctioned by Dhritarashtra that, hey, if I don't give, it was pure done with personal vendetta in mind, and he just was doing this in its own manner, without in a whimsical manner. Dhritarashtra was doing, and also he was too much attached to his son Duryodhan. And even if Duryodhan was telling things which are wrong, which Dhritarashtra knew, it's not as if Dhritarashtra was not knowledgeable. He was very knowledgeable. He was much more knowledgeable than all of us, if you think about. But his attraction, Anubandham, his attraction to Duryodhan, and then Krishna uses the word mohat. Mohat. That means mohat is used in a very nice way. Mohat means illusion. So he got into so much of illusion that he could not recognize, even if he knew that Duryodhan is saying wrong things, but he just couldn't align himself properly. And that led to himsam, that led to the war. And, and in that situation, Dhritarashtra epitomizes action in the mode of ignorance. He he didn't know what is right. So many times when it is self-sanctioned, by you, it is self-sanctioned with your knowledge and perspective. Whether you want to go in the left side of the road, right side of the road, you're getting to 65 zone, but your mind is trying to get 2 minutes ahead, in which case you try to get to 80 miles an hour. And that attraction, which is self-sanctioned, it's not sanctioned by government, it's not sanctioned by the DMV, but it is self-sanctioned by us. And when a person goes in that direction, he goes 10 miles, 15 miles ahead of the zone, and then he ends up getting a ticket, which is probably 2-3 points. So anything which is self-sanctioned, not sanctioned by Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, or a authority, and anything which inflicts that element of violence, himsa, anything which leads to destruction, smoking, is injurious to health. It is written. But the moho, the anubandham, is so strong that the person cannot get rid of the cigarette. So anything which gets us attracted with destructiveness, with violence, and with is self-sanctioned, not sanctioned by authority, self-sanctioned, paurusham. Those are action in the mode of ignorance. And we all should be very careful in our attempt to stay away from it. Always, whenever you need some sanctioning, take counsel from senior devotees, from Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. Look at the scriptures. Has that action happened to someone? Because if you look at Srimad Bhagavatam, which we do in our temple channel between 6:30 to 7, now Kapiladev is discussing the power of devotional service with Mother Devahuti. Beautiful subject matter, 6:30 to 7. You'll see that any activity you end up doing will find some chord or connection with some character in Srimad Bhagavatam, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead would have intervened, and the thing would have been resolved in a very amicable manner. So resort to Guru Sadhu Shastra in your ability to solve anything in your life. And and if anything is attracting you, you're not getting out of it, and that is leading you to destruction, anubandham shayam, stay away from it, because it's the mode of darkness or ignorance. And himsam, anything which causes difficulty to others, think about that is in the mode of ignorance. So when you transcend between from ignorance and go into passion, you end up coming up with a good product, but that is purely for your passion, for your personal gains. But if you go in the mode of goodness, if you go in the mode of goodness, then what is going to happen is you see there are some actions which you end up doing, which is leading to destruction. There are some actions where you win, that is in the mode of passion, which is next higher, but that is purely self-centered. But a mode of goodness is an action where it is it is helpful to so many other people in the situation, and that is the reason why the mode of goodness has to be practiced by all devotees. So when you know that these are the yardsticks which makes this in the an action in the mode of passion, you'll try to transcend to mode of goodness. When you know that this set of activities are in the mode of ignorance, you'll try to transcend to passion and then to goodness. So Krishna is giving a very deep understanding to how to act in this life. That's why Bhagavad Gita is a manual in our life, because it tells us how to lead a life, how to work, how to build our intelligence, what should be our motivation. And that is the reason why Bhagavad Gita is a day-to-day FAQ, which we all should indulge in, and we all should take recourse from. So we can go on and on, but I would like to open up to devotees for comments, reflections. What is mode of ignorance? What is action in mode of ignorance, and how to transcend beyond that is essentially is the topic of today's Bhakti Vriksha discussion. And I hope you have internalized some of the points we discussed today, and you will apply in your lives to really transcend beyond that, so that you become very successful in your life in whatever capacity life throws a challenge at you, and you are ready to catch and drive. So thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Any question or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class. Uh, just wanted to check, Prabhuji, how about the Lord? The Vishnu Deva character in uh, Mahabharata, right? So, what is your opinion? Like, is he like his work will be kind of more of ignorance, Prabhuji? When Draupadi, incident happened, right? Uh, when she asked for help, he didn't help actually. So what should be like we can, think about his, uh,
Yes. So wonderful question. So Vishmadev is has taken a vow in the previous years before that incident, disrobing of Mother's Draupadi, where he would stay with the Kuru dynasty. So that was a prerequisite. And because of that, he felt ashamed of the act which was done. He did not take a stance, not because he was not powerful, not because he was not in the mode of goodness. It was because he had taken a vow in the prior interaction with his during his uh, youth, that he is not going to let go the Kuru association at the time of need. And that is precisely why he behaved in an inappropriate way. Because when you think about, Ramayana, Shurpanakha's nose was cut. People will say Shurpanakha's nose was cut and Ravana had every right to steal Mother Sita. In that sense, because our knowledge is little. But if you look at the entire equation, how Supernaka came and tried to sort of marry both of them, that created mayhem. And so when you look at the knowledge in a broader perspective, we can rationalize. So in that sense, Prabhu, because of that vow, the Lord put him in such a situation that he felt ashamed of, actually. He did not approve, and there are dialogues, there are interaction where uh, after this bad thing happened, the discussion with Dhritarashtra and Vishmadev after that have where Vishmadev had chastised Dhritarashtra that he, being in the head of the throne, he did not uh, object, and at that time, the person who was solely responsible for the outcome is the person on the throne. But others have consequences. But they protested internally, but externally they did not, because they had a vow because of which. So that particular, if a company goes bankrupt, the first person who is answerable is the CEO, right, Prabhu? So in that context, if we really have to apply some management principles, Dhritarashtra is the first to blame. And of course, um, Pitama Bhishma, being a generation upper, had all and he felt the action was precisely because of the vow he took, where he would stay on course of his allegiance to the Kuru throne, which is exactly why he behaved in a improper way. But the majority of the blame, in terms of protecting Mother Draupadi, should lie with the king who was present in that assembly. Is that okay, bro?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Yeah, because we always see, our knowledge is limited. I mean, I only think about that incident, but if you see the broader level, right? I didn't know about that vow. I mean, if you see the complete picture, I mean, I will be wrong. I was thinking, I mean, uh, this should help Draupadi, okay. But if you see the complete picture, I mean, I didn't know that she had taken a vow, okay. Thank you, Prabhupada.
Yeah. Any other comments, questions? You can unmute and speak, Prabhu and Mataji. Okay. So there is festivities coming up. You heard about the disappearance of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj last Sunday. It's a very sad moment for our movement. You might have seen Maharaj with our Prime Minister and the huge Bhagavad Gita in ISKCON Delhi in some press pictures. So Maharaj was very great in preaching. So our prayers go when we, and also, as you know, slowly and slowly, many disciples of His Divine Grace are getting to 70, 80. So it is imperative that we are focused in our ability to stay connected as much as possible to whoever is your saintly guru you are taking benefit from through the association through. So please strengthen your sadhana, because this age of quarrel and hypocrisy is very complicated, and it may affect devotees in a very wrong way. So it is very important that we stay connected and pray for the prevalence of senior Vaishnavas in our movement. Nrsimha Chaturdasi is coming. The flyer will be posted, and after that, the second Saturday of June is New York City Rath Yatra, huge Rath Yatra, and then the actual Rath Yatra in our temple will be on the 7th of July. So a lot of festivals coming. So please participate and gain association, Krishna Conscious Association. Okay. So let's end here. Thank you so much for your comments. If you don't have any other comments, we'll end here. Paying obeisance at the lotus feet of all Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpataruvescha kripa sindhuvaivacha patitanam pavanevya Vaishnavebhyo namo
वैष्णवेभ्यो
namo.
नमो नमः
Vaishnavrinda ki jai.
की जय
Prabhupada ki jai.
की जय
Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
जय
Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
हरि हरि बोल।